just waiting for Jim and Joe to give me some good news. It's 8 o'clock. Where are you guys? Waiting for my good news. Get your fat ass online already.
We don't normally get this kind of action.
It's for us. It's just
exciting.
us. It's the way our stream is.
Oh, dear. It's because you guys are here.
It was a legitimate call. It made sense. It was pass interference. I don't care what anybody says.
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
You call runs when you're not supposed to, and Dak Prescott is throwing it in the dirt.
What they say, it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmies and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
What's going on, Noodles? Welcome back for another edition of Football on the No Show. We are done with the draft, everybody. The draft has been completed, and some teams got better, some teams didn't. We don't know which ones those are until 3 years down the road.
Yeah, exactly. It's funny how everybody's coming up with the grades instantly afterwards and stuff. Even after the shock of what some of the stuff that happened that night.
Right.
It was pretty
Yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
We watched the first round together and stuff, and it was pretty epic. I mean, we there was a lot of questions involving this whole thing.
Right?
What was going to happen? How was it going to go down?
But we
the
weren't
moves
lying.
that were made were intense.
We weren't lying about how this could possibly end up being the most surprising draft of all time. I mean, there was a ton of surprises. Pick-wise, there was trades. There was a lot of things going on, even some speculation during the draft.
Absolutely. Shout out to everybody there watching us tonight. We really appreciate it. Make sure you guys go to YouTube and hit the subscribe button on there and hit the notification bell. We'll give you all the latest and greatest updates here with us on YouTube. And thanks also everybody else on Facebook as well, too. All right, so let's get moving. I mean, again, we're going to talk about the draft in a little bit, but you guys, again, let us know in the comments, comment section. Drop your team, rep your team out there. What happened in the draft that you were excited about, that you were disgruntled about? I mean, did you like the way your team drafted out there? Did they do a good job in maybe fixing some of the spots that you needed, fill the holes? Did they do better than what you would imagine? I mean, things like that. It was a crazy night. A lot of things that happened. But the big story here, Joe, that's been going on here across the whole radio waves and everything now is Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers, it leaks out hours before the draft. It's funny how that happened, too. It just like all of a sudden that day, you hear the news leak out about a lot of things, what's going to go on. These teams might
a lot of rumors.
move up. The Bears were rumored that they might move up, which they did. They made some deals here with the Giants.
That was a great move.
Oh, absolutely. That was amazing.
Trade up
were
and got
loving
Justin
it.
Fields.
Absolutely. Yeah, so I mean,
Wow.
Aaron Rodgers, it's coming out now that he was unhappy with the organization, which I think a lot of us already knew that he was leading it that way, but that it was a really pretty much close opportunity that he was not going to play this year. You know, he has basically dug in and said, as long as their GM is not there anymore, that if he's still there, he will not play. So, I mean, and we've heard more that people have, caught him at the Kentucky Derby, try to get comments here. He didn't say anything on air, but off the air, again, he was talking with somebody. He said he loves the fans, loves the players and things like that. But there's a problem. And a lot of it, and it came down to when 2019, I think the 2020 draft, it was when they traded up to take Jordan Love here at the 26th pick overall. And basically, he's mad, too, because you don't have to even say, that you can't draft another quarterback there. But at least teams should let you know. I mean, this past year, the Minnesota Vikings at least let Kirk Cousins know that they're drafting a quarterback in the third round. Just say, hey, just to let you know, we're going to be doing this. Make sure you're cool with that. I mean, so you're still our quarterback, but we're going to look into this.
Yeah. And that's, a lot of teams do this, and you're right. Communication's a big key in any kind of relationship. So what I don't even know how to pronounce his name, the GM for the Packers.
I think it's Gutenkunst.
Gutenkunst.
I guess.
Say that 3 times fast. But Gutenkunst, if as long as Jimmy's correct.
I don't know. I could be getting it wrong completely.
But anyway, one of the most difficult names to pronounce for a GM for the Packers. there's been a huge rift between Aaron Rodgers and the GM for whatever reason, but we can only speculate. We don't have 100% proof, obviously, but what we've seen from the outside looking in is that there's been a slowly growing bigger and bigger, gap between the two. In terms of communication, there has been none. And why not take some advice, take some suggestions from your MVP quarterback? It's not like this guy's a rookie or a second-year player, and they just kind of, push him aside like, no, don't worry, we'll handle this. We have it. This guy has been clamoring for some help, some extra help. Yes, Davante Adams is amazing. He's an elite wide receiver, but he's talking about help opposite Adams. So that way you can, stretch the field, get the defense to be, widen their defense so that way they can be able to attack them with the tight end, with Robert Tonyan and X-player and Davante Adams. That's what he's talking about. He's talking about getting more help. So what did they do? They ended up not only drafting Jordan Love in the first round, but they also, in the second round, where I was expecting, okay, they took Jordan Love. That's a little bit of a surprise. They'll come back in the second round. They'll add a wide receiver for Aaron Rodgers, right? Nope. They end up taking a backup running back. Yes, he could very well be the future at that position in A.J. Dillon. But as of right now, they got a very explosive, very good running back that they don't need to worry about. Again, I think the first two rounds of that draft was complete waste picks because did Jordan Love step on the football field? No. So you're not helping Aaron Rodgers. You're not helping your franchise right now that could possibly win and maybe push for a Super Bowl again. You're preparing for the future. You're not preparing for Aaron Rodgers and the team right now. So that's what right there and then is where Aaron Rodgers was extremely upset about. He came back the following season, had a tremendous year, MVP, and then this offseason, we're all expecting, the Packers are on the clock again. What are they going to do? Are they going to go wide receiver here? There was plenty of value there, plenty of value for wide receivers. Nope, they didn't go for wide receiver again in the first. Did they go for it in the second? Nope, they didn't. They took a center, which is much needed. Don't get me wrong, but again, they surpass over wide receiver to help Aaron Rodgers in this offense. And then in the third, they finally added a wide receiver this year in Amari Rodgers from Clemson. Not a steal of the draft type of pick. Not a guy he's a decent player. Don't get me wrong, but at 5'9", 212, and only has an average speed. As opposed in the NFL as a 4.5 40. So not like 4.3, 4.4, nothing explosive like that. So I don't know how much he's going to even get to play with the guys that are already, suited up. So did they really help the team again? Did they help Rodgers again this offseason? I don't see it. I just and this is where Aaron Rodgers kind of blew his top. Is after he saw once again in the draft, in free agency, not bringing in any big-time guys like Juju Smith-Schuster was out there for quite some time. So wasn't Kenny Galladay. And Packers didn't come knocking. They didn't come calling their agent and say, hey, we want you to come visit Green Bay and see if we can work out a deal. So all in all, now 2 off seasons go through. Aaron Rodgers extremely upset, says, you know what? Fuck these guys. I'm done. I've had it up to here. I keep asking for more help, and I don't see it happening. So here's the thing. We've heard multiple reports. Some people say it's true. Some people say it's false. That's what rumors are, right? Until we finally get to know. So Gutekunst is on the slab for Aaron Rodgers. He wants him fired, and then he'll come back. But more than anything for us, is truly believe this is more about contract than it is about Gutekunst. Because as much as Gutekunst has gone the other way and not helping Aaron Rodgers in this offense, I feel like now the Packers are trying to work on just restructuring his current deal and making it making it easier for the organization to possibly move on from Aaron and not suffer any ramifications for contract for salary
Plus
cap.
with the effects that COVID has had on with the salary cap and the adjustment. And
True.
like that
I mean,
too.
obviously, but but that's not what their goal is. You know, you could say that, but that was last year. So now we're starting to open up. We're starting to get back to normal things, you know, for the most part. And you have this contract. Well, Aaron wants a guarantee that he's going to be the starter for the next 3 years at least. And if Green Bay and Gutekunst is not willing to do that, if Gutekunst is staying there, then we could very well see Aaron Rodgers. I'm not 100% sure if they'll actually trade him. Maybe. It's like a small percentage. But all in all, we could see Aaron Rodgers. He's the type of guy where once he makes up his mind, that's it. There's no turning back. And he's dug in. He's made it well known. And he said that he's not going to come back and play for the Packers. So if that's what he's saying, and we're going to take his word for it, then maybe he might just flat out retire and go host Jeopardy.
All right, we've got Stephen Bogucki, I think is how it's pronounced. I'm sorry if I screwed it. Bogucki's in the house with us tonight. He says here the Jets should grab Aaron Rodgers to groom the new quarterback we drafted. Yeah, but unfortunately, I mean, we've looked at this again, and it looks like it's going to take 2 number 1s and a number 2 at least.
That's just to start the conversation.
To start the conversation.
I mean, I've seen
who has that to draft even right now. I know that the Giants do next season, but I mean. It sounds great. I know there's a lot of teams out there that would say this would be a great opportunity for us. Why not? I mean, how many times do we hear once Russell Wilson was out there disgruntled, we're like, we could use him. I could work this working in a trade. Even Deshaun Watson, even too. You know, it's you hear
but
this.
But even the Russell Wilson situation
nice
is not even as bad as this,
right?
You know,
because you didn't have because it's one thing you have a problem with the organization. It seems like they're not giving you help. And you're doing a lot of it on your own, there is some parallels with that with Russell Wilson, with Aaron Rodgers. He feels like he's doing a lot of it himself. If it wasn't for him, they wouldn't be where they were. Russell Wilson's getting sacked a lot more than what Aaron Rodgers is, though. But very similar. They're able to make some moves with their legs, get out of the pocket, and make the throws that need to be made. On the Aaron Rodgers situation, though, as well, you bring up Jeopardy. Well, I mean, he's got that money, and he's happy, and like that's even a lifelong dream for him to do that.
Right.
So he can even just say, like, well, I'll go and do this here, too.
I'll be good.
But the problem is, too, when you talk about money also, too, if he decides to retire, say he wants to retire, if he retires, he has to pay back a total of $23 million in signing bonuses back to the team too. Yeah. So I mean, this effect is basically when you're looking at it with some of these other veterans that said I'm going to hold out, I'm going to sit out. How much can his bank account handle with it? He's got a lot of money. So I mean, we saw guys like Le'Veon Bell sit out a whole season and stuff and being able to make it. So you got Aaron Rodgers who has the endorsement deals. You got to see him on State Farm all the time with State Farm.
Discount double check.
Absolutely. And then now the Jeopardy thing. So he's got that in his back pocket as well to throw back at these teams. So if you look at say he holds out and you go through the mandatory offseason mini camps. The first day, it's a fine of $15,000. Second day, $30,000. Then the third day, $46 million. Overall, it rounds up to $93 million here in fines.
$93 million?
Million. Yep. Oh, 93,000. Sorry,
okay.
93,000. 93,000.
I was going to say, there's no way it's
93,000 and 93,000 in fines, and that's before you even get to the offseason. If that happens, then too, then you're talking about 50,000 a game. I think they were saying.
Yeah.
So. How long can he withstand? Who knows? But also, like you said, he's got the endorsement deals. He has Jeopardy on there as well. And the fact is that you went and did this move without asking him further. And again, you don't have to say you have to be included in all my moves, but as a kind of a courtesy. And you know Aaron Rodgers, the way he is, you've seen it come across here. I know a lot of people have even documented this. He has not been the most easy person to deal with. He's very sensitive. I think he's been sensitive about his height, where he got drafted even as well. And just he holds grudges. And Brett Favre has said it out there. He knows him. Brett Favre gave him the cold shoulder when Aaron Rodgers came into this situation. Eventually they warmed up and patched, whatever problems they had. Now they're good friends. He knows. He said if there's a family grudge, he will hold it. He stays true to his word.
He definitely
and
does.
Aaron Rodgers will. We know this. And the fact that, we hear also, too, about Jake Kumaro and Jordy Nelson, they end up getting released. And that was one of the moves that Gutekunst had done earlier, too, that had set off Aaron Rodgers as well,
Rodgers
because he really liked what Kumaro had brought to the team, even though it wasn't a lot of production. And I'm sure that's the way the GM was looking at it on their side. It's like, well, this guy doesn't produce so much. We'll see. Maybe it fits, this way to bring in some other guys, and we don't have to pay him and this, that. And Jordy Nelson especially was getting a little longer in the tooth. He moved on to the Raiders and things like that, and he didn't really do so much for you guys as well. So that was a smarter move. It might have upset Aaron Rodgers because he's familiar with those guys, because what happened next, he got a bunch of other receivers that weren't staying healthy and that also weren't getting it. You know what I mean? And he wasn't on the same page, so he felt like he wasted a few of those years dealing with that. And then also one other thing, tidbit that came out too that I read up on was that also, which all teams were doing, you're agreeing to more joint team practices. You see, this is how the way Aaron Rodgers is well. They agreed to a joint practice with the Texans, and that just set Aaron Rodgers off too. He's like, no, why are we doing this? I don't like this at all. He loathes joint practices. I don't know if he thinks it's because, they can get a little edge on what you're doing, this and that. Doesn't like it. He likes to get the better hand of you. But this is what happens with these guys. He's got a problem with Gutekunst. Now, if they do happen to make the move and drop their GM, one, it shows you the power of the quarterback now and what these players are able to do.
Well,
and two,
the thing that I'll say about power of the quarterback, it depends on the quarterback, for one. Aaron Rodgers, he's been in the game for years. He's a multi-MVP quarterback in this league, one of the greatest quarterbacks, in this league, possibly in history. You know what I mean? So he has a lot his resume is very, very long. You know what I mean? So he has a lot of experience. He's been there, done that, won chips for this organization, and has been loyal throughout all of it. And for a fairly kind of new GM and Gutekunst with Green Bay to kind of start to make all these different changes and not include Aaron Rodgers, not necessarily saying take every word from Aaron Rodgers and say, okay, yeah, I'll do that. I'll do what you say.
Whatever you say. Yeah.
But I'll take in your suggestion. I'll take in your information that you're giving me, and then I'll try to do the best that I can. You know what I mean? So I think for that relationship, it's been more about Gutekunst wanting to make a name for himself and not even wanting to include a guy like Aaron Rodgers or a player like at that caliber. So I feel like that also kind of strained the relationship right from the start, early in the beginning. So now that we've seen 2 off seasons with Gutekunst in the chair and making all these decisions and making all these changes, Aaron Rodgers not very happy with it, and he has a right not to be. He definitely does. I mean, listen, he's asked for help. You can't always rely on Davante Adams all the time. The closest next receiver behind him is not even an above average receiver. They're all average in terms of the NFL caliber. So it's like all Aaron Rodgers is wanting is another nice shiny toy opposite Davante Adams to kind of free up this offense. You look at Robert Tonyan, who they just I believe he just signed his tender, staying with Green Bay.
He did.
Robert Tonyan is an immense talent at tight end, and
absolutely,
I think Aaron Rodgers loves the fact that he's kind of developed and now he's there for him. But still, they still need more weapons, and as of right now, they just haven't done it, and you wonder how long this is going to go. So you talk about salary, you talk about money with Aaron Rodgers. Does he have enough? I don't think it's any question. I think he has enough financially to be stable, to set out a whole year, and possibly come back the next year. Can this relationship get resolved? Can it be melded back together again? We're gonna have to wait and see on that. But as it all looks right now, it looks like Aaron Rodgers is dead set in trading. He wants to trade to another team, unless they're going to do one of those 2 other scenarios, getting rid of the GM.
Well, the one thing also too is he has the no trade. He doesn't have the no trade clause, so it's not like he can be like, well, I don't want to trade, but then now that I do, these are my teams I'm interested in. He can't do that. So it's all on them. They can send him to Detroit or whatever if they wanted to.
I thought
or whatever.
I had a thought if they really wanted to give it to Aaron Rodgers, if they were to come down to a trade. Now, we talked before we started the show about this, salary cap-wise, so they don't hurt themselves in a large amount of money. They could actually, if they trade him after June 1st, then you're looking at only like a $22 million or so cap hit against the organization. If they do it before June 1st, which we know it's not going to happen, it's going to be 35, 39, something crazy like that, cap hit against the team. So if they were to decide to trade him, it's definitely going to be after June 1st. Until then, they are going to be working on trying to repair this relationship.
Right, and then you brought up the June 1st thing, too, and the thing is, too, they do take that little bit of a cap hit, but still, overall, they save $16.5 million in cap space because after that, when he signs that, they look at his salary cap bonuses here, and it divides it over the next 3 remaining years and splits it out that way. So if they did it, it would be all come in lump sum before that, and then that's where you get your hit on this upcoming season before it happens. And that's what they're dealing with. There's a little bit of money. There's a little bit of attitudes. There's, hurt feelings, a little bit of everything here. And to see that there is something involved with all this too, at Packers.com here, the president of operations for the team had this quote here to say here for them. He said the day started with the report that Aaron Rodgers is upset with the Packers and doesn't want to return to the team. When a report like that involves the reigning MVP, it's obviously a huge story, and it dominated the sports news for most of the day. This is an issue that we have been working on for several months, so we admit several months that it's been like that now. Brian Gutekunst, Matt LaFleur, and I have flown out on a number of occasions to meet with Aaron. We are very much aware of Aaron's concerns and have been working with him and his agent, Dave Dunn, to resolve them. We remain committed to Aaron in 2021 and beyond. That's from Packers.com there, too. That is Mark Murphy there, the president for the Green Bay Packers. So he's aware,
the money.
brings it out there, said they talked about it. But this is the thing, you show him the money. They offered him now a lucrative contract now, too. See, this is what Brett Favre had said. Say, here, now we'll make you'll give you the money or whatever, make you one of the highest paid or whatever you want to be. And he turned it down. So now he's like, no, it was too little, too late, whatever. No, I'm done with this.
But it's not added years on the contract. That's what he wants. He wants an extension. So, yeah, you can give him more money right now, but he knows that after his contract runs out, there's a possibility he could either be traded or he could just be flat out left out as a free agent, which would be absolutely insane. But he's looking for an extension and wants to be guaranteed he'll be the starter going forward. That's one of the many scenarios that are all involved in this equation. So, I just think that I don't know where this is going to head. You know, it's one of these situations where there's so many variables, and we're hearing so many things. Obviously from the media and from rumors that are starting to spread around the league. So you don't know what to trust, for one. And for two, what's to say maybe Aaron Rodgers, is upset. And he maybe he has indeed said, I'm not going to come back and play if, A, you don't fire the GM because he doesn't listen to me anyway and doesn't give me any of the tools that I need, or I'm just done. If you're not going to trade me, I'm going to sit out. So, I mean, we just don't know what's true at this point. So now we're all kind of guessing. We're all trying to think of scenarios and how this could all play out in the end. But this going public is a bad thing because, just like the president was saying, he goes, they've been working on this for several months. So if that's the case and now it got leaked, it must have been leaked by Aaron Rodgers' party. You know what I mean? Maybe not so much Aaron Rodgers himself, but
it was somebody they said, I think, within the organization. So I think it was probably even players or somebody close of a coach or something that he knew that he talked to that it happened.
I know it can't be Matt LaFleur.
No.
You know, it's got to be one of the assistants.
And
or
what's
something
funny
like that.
too is you hear the headlines like, "Oh, Green Bay saying they're committed to him." Well, what else were they going to say? Of course they would be. I mean,
Why
what
would
team
you
would
not
not
be?
be committed to
An
the reigning
MVP
MVP
of the
guy that's
league.
been there forever? And that's why you said it's funny. It's like because you don't know where it's going to go, and it's kind of like it's a conundrum because you say, all right, well, you know, I want to stay a Packer and I want an extension and stuff like that here too. But then you're saying on the same turn, you're like, well, trade me because I just don't want to be here. I'm like, well, what is it? I mean, what do you really want to be, or do you trust what we're doing? Do you want us to go forward? Do you want to be our leader for the Green Bay Packers? I know he had said that when he first started into his league too, and staying true until now, that he wanted to, just like Eli Manning, play for one team only and retire with that team. Now he said it last year on the exiting podium, saying that my future's not even clear right now with this team, not sure, blah blah blah. So he doesn't even know if that's even what he wants in his mind or what is even going to be happening.
I think what I read from that is I think it's because of all this stuff going on in the background is leading him to believe like he's not really 100% sure what's going to happen. You know, what's going to be the end? And you say, well, what do you want then? Do you want to be traded? Do you not want to be traded? Yeah, he's already come out, or at least somebody has come out and said that Aaron Rodgers wants to be traded. And that's probably true as long as Gutekunst is going to be staying there. So believe me, the end result for this for Aaron Rodgers, what he really wants, he definitely wants to stay with Green Bay and wants to finish his career out in Green Bay being the starter. That's really what he wants.
Right.
But he doesn't want to stay with Green Bay if they're not going to help him win games.
Right.
And with Gutekunst in office, that's where he just pinpointed him. Because, honestly, he's the one he's a shot caller right now. In the last two off seasons, hasn't really done much to help Aaron Rodgers. So unless they're going to move on from the GM or somehow, some way get some help for him now, because now we're past free agency pretty much. We're past the draft. Can't do anything now about that. Maybe a trade can be pulled off. You look at Julio Jones is now looking to be traded from Atlanta. Maybe you start having talks with Atlanta, seeing how much it would cost to get a guy like Julio Jones to help Aaron Rodgers out. I mean, something like that has to happen to get this thing kind of resolved. So until one of the sides budge, which I don't think Aaron Rodgers is going to be the first one to say, okay, I give up. I'm coming back to play.
Oh, no, he's not.
So because we know the
Because you look at it, he's got to have the upper hand in this whole thing.
Absolutely, because we know the kind of person he is. And Brett Favre
and the things he has in his back pocket again.
Right.
The endorsements,
Yep.
Jeopardy.
Yeah.
He
has leverage.
Yeah,
he has
absolutely.
leverage. And Brett Favre has come out and also talked about Aaron Rodgers and his dealings with him, in Green Bay and stuff. And he's like, he's a hard-headed person. Once he makes up his mind, that's it. He doesn't give, he doesn't bend, none of that. So,
and also Devontae Adams has come to his to agree with him over his aid. Yeah. Absolutely. And posted on Twitter too. It said as well, can you blame the guy? He's been asking for this for a while. I'm totally on board with whatever Aaron's saying.
Right.
It's true.
Yeah. So real quick,
sure.
I had this thought before we were going to talk like where he possibly could be traded.
Yeah, sure.
So I think if Green Bay really wanted to screw over Aaron Rodgers and get a quarterback in return on some level, we know that Houston is against trading Deshaun Watson, but Deshaun Watson is another one of those quarterbacks right now that says, I'm not going to play for this organization ever again. I want to be traded. What if Green Bay was to trade for Deshaun Watson and send Rodgers to Houston? Watson comes over to Green Bay, and obviously picks are going to have to also be either swapped or traded away from one team or another, and consummate a trade that way. That way you still will get a younger franchise quarterback in Deshaun Watson. And that's how you kind of can resolve this situation. At the same time, Aaron Rodgers is going to be pissed because you sent him to Houston.
Yeah,
where
and
they
which
have
they
no
can
help.
though,
Yeah,
because
they
it's
can.
all on them.
Yeah.
What do you propose the value is for that? Do you think that's an even swap?
No, because youth comes into that aspect. Yes, Rodgers right now is absolutely better than Deshaun Watson. I love Deshaun Watson, but I mean, reigning MVP, the guy who's been there, done that, won chips, all that kind of stuff. He is a great quarterback, even still at the age of 37. So when you're making a trade like that, so now you got youth. He's a proven commodity to Deshaun Watson. You know what you're getting. And to make that trade, I don't think it's I don't think it's even, but I think it's not far away.
Not far away. What do you think the other compensation would be? Like would you say second rounder even to an Aaron Rodgers? Is that too steep?
Second rounder and Aaron Rodgers for
Deshaun Watson straight up.
I think there's going to be some other
picks. Some more compensation, maybe a third or something like that.
I think there would be more swapping of picks, or like say if Green Bay was to say, okay, we'll give you Aaron frickin' Rodgers, a second round pick, a fourth and a fifth, and then you give us Watson and a third, maybe something like that. You know what I mean? I feel like something like that could happen. I don't necessarily know if they would do first-round picks. Maybe Green Bay would have to give Rodgers in a first-rounder because of Watson's youth, because you know what I mean? Something like that. I don't know. I don't know how it would work out, but it's got to be around.
I mean, that would be another team
like
again where they all are. It's like a win-win, I guess. But then again, if you're looking at it too. We haven't heard a lot about the settlement situation or what's going on with the women bringing up charges.
Oh, they're going to court.
Deshaun. Yeah, so I mean
that's what's going to happen.
It's going to go off to the side.
Deshaun,
I think what other teams are just fearing is that still whether he's innocent or whatever, that he still might be reprimanded by the NFL and be suspended for a few games.
And here's what I would say about all of this. It's awfully funny how the large number of women that have come forward very rapidly, I might add.
Well, that's how those
it's a little suspicious.
Happen. You know, they just start piling on.
So, and for Deshaun Watson and his legal team to just come out and say, no, we want to go to court because I know I didn't do this. So for him to kind of make that stance and his team of lawyers to be like, yeah, we're all in. Let's go to the court because we can prove that he is innocent on these charges, and because otherwise. You would have saw settlements happen. You would have you got to pay this money, you got to pay this, got to pay that, just to get all of them to go away. But for the decision that they've made for him to go to court, that tells me that there might be some truth to his innocence, and they are going to prove it in court. So a lot of teams obviously are going to be a little concerned, maybe they're going to wait a little bit on Deshaun Watson to see how those proceedings go forward and see what the end result is. But all in all, if he comes out innocent and he's all good to go, be prepared, Houston, to get a lot of phone calls again because I feel like that's what teams are waiting for is the judgment. What's going to happen with that situation, and then you might even see Green Bay give him a call and be like, "Hey, Aaron's not budging." So, what can we make this happen?
That would be great for both teams. Again, I don't know what
not
the compensation what they have. I know Houston was really out of luck this year, without having a first and second round pick. They had to start at the third round here for them because of
and they drafted
trades
they'd
done before. Yeah.
So I mean that has to tell you something too about Houston thinking like, hey, if this court case goes sideways, and we might not have Deshaun Watson for a little while. We need to have somebody in place. So they did their best. They drafted the best available quarterback in Davis Mills from Stanford, which I'm really high on. The only negative feedback you get from Davis Mills is not accuracy. It's not his decision making. It's not smarts. It's not athletic ability. It's injuries. His career at Stanford, he's been injured like quite often. So. The big thing for him is coming into the NFL, work out, train hard, and hopefully he doesn't get injured. Maybe he could, progress to be a future starter at some point. But it's going to be interesting how that situation in the courts happen with Deshaun Watson. And then after that, when that's all said and done, is Watson another one of those guys who's just going to sit out? You know what I mean? Because that whole big story that everybody was all talking about, like Aaron Rodgers right now, that's kind of subsided because of the court case. So once that's said and done, let's see what happens, man. We might have 2 starting quarterbacks sitting out a year because they didn't get dealt or didn't get traded.
2 major,
quarterbacks. Big time.
Mhm.
So I mean, it's going to be interesting. So hold on.
Yeah, and the one thing you bring up the quarterbacks and preparing for this. The funny thing about it, even too, to bring up quick, the fact that Aaron Rodgers had a problem with them doing that, but they didn't even seeing the fact that Jordan Love has been an undressed third string quarterback for the team. It's not like he was creeping up and they're like, oh, we like what he's doing in practice. He's right there in the second string position, where he's getting more reps with it. They're not even preparing any of that to where they had Todd Boyle as another quarterback on their roster last year.
Right.
He left. He's with the Detroit Lions. So now look at this. You have Aaron Rodgers and you have Jordan Love now. They're the only 2 quarterbacks on the roster right now.
Right.
So if Aaron Rodgers doesn't play, you're forced to do Jordan Love. And if you weren't prepared and ready, then there's a problem there too. And obviously they're not, because even in the conversations that they're having right now, they're saying, yeah, maybe we'll look into another veteran we can get in the house to help groom Jordan. So that's telling you that he is not ready.
No, he's not ready.
And so
we knew that. We knew that
in that position.
We knew about him coming out in the draft. We knew that he was more of a developmental prospect, and that's maybe that's kind of why Green Bay, they liked his intangibles, and they liked what they saw from him. But they knew that they had a lot of work ahead of them. Maybe that's why they traded up and took him now. But again, it's kind of a wasted pick because you already have Aaron Rodgers. Why are you taking a guy that's not going to play right now? So we got Mike Harrington on this. What's going on, Mike?
Mike in the house. So he says Rodgers to the Giants, trade as many first rounders as necessary, and they do. They have the thing, and that's we were talking about the draft too, and what happened. I am ecstatic with what the Giants did. They handled some of the needs that they had.
They got some great value.
Oh, absolutely.
Great
that
value
picks and what they did, it still filled some holes. Even though they didn't attack the offensive line, I still like the picks that they get and the value that was there. That's what I mean. At
least we think the value's there. You know what I mean? Because like we all kind of are going off of what these so-called experts are saying about the value picks and all that type of thing. But 3 years down the road, that's when we're going to really find out who struck gold where.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on top of it, though, they made these trades, which they had never done before.
Right. Get them
They
in.
do it, and not only in the first round with the Bears, but then also in the second round, and still able to get the guys that they want.
Are you kidding
and
me?
now next season, it looks like when we would do drafts in the Madden. Like you got 2 1s, 2 2s, 2 3s. I mean, it's lining right up.
Right.
It's perfect. Yeah. So you got multiple spots in each round to where now if you're not sold on Aaron Rodgers, or Aaron Rodgers, on Daniel Jones you can maybe whittle moves and make some moves. Maybe it is because, again, if you want to talk about Giants making a trade for Aaron Rodgers, I don't think it would even be this year unless they are ready for it. Then, I mean, it would have to be, all right, we're totally not sold on Daniel Jones, but if we got an opportunity to get Aaron Rodgers, I feel we can win right now with the team that we have, especially with the defense that they have.
You got a good defense
and
already
Saquon
in place.
Barkley in the backfield as well.
Right.
You got the wide receivers. And Daniel Jones, if you do it even fairly soon, there's a lot of – we saw it with Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold had issues and stuff with the Jets and not looked spectacular, but another team saw something in him and said, I can still work with this guy. I still think that he has potential to get better.
Yeah, he didn't
and
have
be
a fair
guy.
shot.
So if Daniel Jones, you've saw enough of what he can do, and he can make the throws, it's just ball control is basically for him and protecting it. If other teams saw that same type of thing, you could still even get some value for Daniel Jones on a trade if you wanted to.
Absolutely, and that's the craziest thing too is the Giants could, if they were to pull off a trade for Aaron Rodgers, and I don't know, let's say they trade Daniel Jones as part of that. Maybe goes to Green Bay, so maybe they trade Daniel Jones and 3 first-rounders. And that's what it takes to get the deal done. Maybe it's only 2 first rounds. I don't know, because when you're trading for a guy that at the age of 37, about to be 38, how many more years are you going to have him for? You know what I mean? He could decide.
Not everybody's Tom Brady.
Right,
But,
and he could decide 2 years down the road, I'm going to retire, like out of nowhere. And then you're like, oh, wait, what?
Yeah.
So that's got to be talked about too. So like maybe 2 first-rounders and Daniel Jones might get it done. And then the Giants instantly turn into not only a playoff team, but also a team that if they keep ascending like they were late last season with that defense and the offense that didn't have any weapons really, Now you look at this team, you're like, wow, this is like, it's the Giants division to win. You know what I mean?
It would be like what they say about the Cowboys every year. Like, this is the year now. Now it's the Cowboys division to lose. You know what I mean? Like they do every year.
Unlike the Cowboys fans out there that think because of their offense is going to win the whole thing, and you don't have a defense still.
Yeah.
So how are you going to stop
unlike
people?
that, now it would be true. Because, again, Aaron Rodgers automatically makes you a contender there. You're there. And, again, if you look at quarterbacks within that division, who's better than Aaron Rodgers?
No.
So,
Nobody.
I mean, again, it's a good short-term fix. You don't see if you just get rid of some of your capital there too. Maybe you can still rebuild too.
It's definitely an interesting, aspect. And this is the other thing about Daniel Jones this year. I think it's a critical year for Daniel Jones.
Oh, absolutely.
The Giants fans and the organization both need to see him take a big step forward. Not give up turnovers, not fumble the ball, not throw, miscellaneous balls up in the air and they ended up getting picked off. Don't make poor decisions. Make smart ones. Throw the ball away, get out of the pocket, do whatever you got to do. But don't make those critical, poor
game-deciding
decisions.
problems. Because I even saw it last year too, and I've been a supporter of Daniel Jones. That's the quarterback I wanted in the draft. We got him
At the time,
yeah, exactly. And there was times when I was watching some of the games, and I'm just like, oh, that was just the one that really drove this game on the
There was
opposite
quite a
side
few
of
of them.
us. Yes,
Yeah.
and I'm like, oh, the problem is the quarterback at this point right now, because even some of the things that had happened, just the bad decision making within those opportune moments that just flip flop the game for us. And there were so many games we were in. The Giants could have beat the Bucks, the champions.
Yes.
Last season. They put the Steelers, although towards the end of the season didn't look so great for the Steelers with their explosive beginning of the season. They had them on the ropes. They could have beat the Steelers earlier on in the season. I mean, there's a lot of teams they contended with that were playoff teams.
Oh, yeah.
So they look really good. They can only get better this year. We'll see what happens with that. But the Aaron Rodgers thing, it could happen. It's a good move. I like the way it would work out for them, and it would automatically make them contenders, I think, for that. So, absolutely. But you want to talk about trades, too. The thing that's coming out now, too, because the Packers said, no, we didn't hear anything. We didn't listen to any trades, blah, 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 and all this. But then, other things that come out that now there's teams involved, and one of those teams was the San Francisco 49ers, and the other team was the Denver Broncos too, here in this whole thing too as well, the Denver Broncos. So now they're bringing up the fact that they said they haven't filed charges right now for this, but there's tampering involved now.
Tampering alert. Tampering.
Did you guys maybe sway him a little bit into saying that he doesn't want to play by saying,
What
what do you want?
What did you promise
we
him?
can bring you here. We can work out the deals. What do you want? And
the Broncos promised him free pony rides.
Well, this is what I found out. I found out that I've heard that the 49ers were willing to send their third overall pick this year that they got Pitts with, and a couple picks and players. Not specific what picks and players, but the third, a couple picks and players involved in that. And the Broncos were going to give them their 9th overall spot here and some picks. No players were mentioned or anything like that, but some picks. Not as
I like the Niners
appetizing.
one better.
Niners was there. We even talked about it, too, because that Aaron Rodgers news came out the night of the draft.
Yeah.
It was out there. I said, man, if it's there, Atlanta's right here. But what do you do with that, too? Because you got a few more years on Matt Ryan, though, too, and then his contract, which is safer in another year or so to you could cut loose on. But we even talked about it. There was no sense of trying to trade him or do whatever with him now because, again, some of the cap hits you take and some of the issues, and he still hasn't really lost anything.
I mean,
Matt Ryan hasn't lost anything. He's been getting hit a lot more.
Oh, Jesus,
He's been
yes.
taking 40-plus hits, too, as well. He's been up there in the upper
when you
echelon
don't
of
have
sacks.
half your starting offensive line for most of the year, that's going to happen, right? I mean, you got to feel bad for a guy like that last year. I mean, you're just getting absolutely pummeled in the backfield. So Atlanta, listen, they got 2-3 more years left on his contract, and they're pretty comfortable with him as their Q right now. So they decided to build around him, even make this offense even stronger. And later in the draft, they got more defensive pieces. But that's why I kind of was curious to see what they would do at that spot. Would they go quarterback of the future and kind of groom him? Like if Trey Lance was available. We all know that he got taken by the Niners, the spot ahead of them. But what's to say, like, maybe Mac Jones? Maybe they could have drafted Mac Jones and groom him to be the starter. So we were waiting to see what would happen there. But I just think the talent was too big to kind of let up on Kyle Pitts as the tight end there for Atlanta. So that's who they ended up deciding to go with.
Right.
But all in all, I mean, you also got to look at their salaries, right?
Mm-hmm.
So they're kind of similar, but I feel like Aaron Rodgers, it's I don't have the numbers in front of me, but it's comparable to what Matt Ryan's making, maybe a little bit more. So you would have to take, not only if you were to make that move, you would have to take that contract on, plus give up draft picks, and not just a couple. You're going to have to give up that pick, maybe next year's first, because just to get Green Bay to maybe even go for it, you had to like kind of give them a trade that would blow their socks off and say, well, no way, they're actually giving this up. You know what I mean? So, yeah, and for the 49ers and the Broncos to kind of get involved here, and I don't know, we don't know for sure if they like talked to his agent. You know,
well,
did they talk to him personally?
I don't know. I think something was, because, again, Kyle Shanahan, no matter what, you know, he tries to say he throws this out, and then he has actually said, he's like, yeah, there were some talks, and we've talked about Aaron coming in here, and we would have been happy if we had Aaron with this organization. Would have been nice, you know.
You shouldn't have admitted that.
Well, I know, exactly. That's what I mean. That's why it's like, dude, you're actually giving them ammunition right here.
For confirming.
Yeah.
You have tampered.
He goes, but we went and were able to have that option to get Trey, right? And that's the guy we wanted, though, too, so we're happy with that as well.
I don't think they should be happy with
why
that.
would you say? I know, but why would you even say that? So it's like, that's almost like, that's one thing, you're admitting guilt right there, so you could be getting tampering.
And then for
second of all, for you to say, it's like, well, we wanted to get, you know, Aaron Rodgers is with this pick, but we got you, but we're happy with you still. Like, who did you say that to somebody? You're like, yo, I really wanted this guy if he was there, but we got you, and we like you too, so it's okay.
And then for
like,
Denver to kind of Denver having a new
meanwhile,
GM.
I have Jimmy G there too as well. And you're like, what am I?
Yeah. And for Denver to have a new GM,
and
for him to kind of even kind of teeter into this and say, hey, you want to come over to my that's you're tampering as well. Being a new GM, like, that's not a very smart move. So I will say this, as far as the new GM goes for Denver, I think he had a pretty darn good draft. I was kind of impressed by Denver's drafting. Thank God John Elway's not in that seat anymore.
Yeah, that's why we were talking about too. We were like, yo, look at the difference when John Elway's not involved, right?
Right.
You know, so I mean, it's really funny.
But Kyle Shanahan, like you mentioned too, with the Niners, is he's kind of openly admitted a lot of things. Basically blasting Jimmy G, you know, not harshly, but basically saying we're ready to move on from you.
Yeah.
At a press conference in public. I was like, what did he just say? Like he's like, yeah, we're gonna, you know, Jimmy G, he hasn't been there for us a lot of times, so he's been often injured. So yeah, we're gonna go for quarterback.
Well, that's what's funny is because also during the night of the draft, it was kind of like, the reports from the 49ers is they're not letting anybody know, any of the coaching personnel, on who they're actually going to pick.
But we know it's
tonight.
a quarterback.
But we know it's a quarterback, and it looks like Trey Lance, but nobody is supposed to tell anybody.
That's right.
It's like, but they already kind of told everybody already. It's like, ooh, you guys are tricky. And they're like, the 49ers are really enjoying this night with what they're doing. It's like, I think it just makes me hate Kyle Shanahan more. I just feel like it is like he knows some of his stuff or whatever and stuff like that, but I just feel more of it here, and why would they want to deem him God or this guru or whatever is because he grew up as a child alongside his dad, you know, with who was a head coach for so long. Everybody in the industry got to know him. Hey, look, there he is. There's little Kyle. Yeah, we love you, man. And now he's grown up to be this guy. And then he's, you know, I'm an offensive coordinator too as well. So they already are. He's likable. They want to wish him good luck and things like that, stuff like that. But I think all of it, I mean, it's not. I'm like, yes, he knows his X's and O's,
He
stuff like
does.
that,
He's
but
smart.
he makes mistakes too,
Yes.
and not everything is freaking candy coated like
I mean,
they're trying to
we've
paint him
seen-
out to be.
Right. I don't know if they're kind of painting him in that
A
light
lot of
that
times,
much.
dude, you've seen Guru or Epic, blah,
Yes.
blah, blah, things right next
yes,
to him.
and that's what you do give those labels out when they kind of prove themselves in terms of X's and O's and game planning, which I feel like he's done a pretty darn good job of
At times, but a lot of the big moments,
But
he's
yeah,
failed.
but you could say
Yeah.
that about every single coordinator, every single
absolutely.
coach.
I
So
hear you
it's
there.
like, but I do. I think he is an offensive guru in some shade of light because we've seen him, game plan games to, a great and the great outcome. So, yeah, not so much in the Super Bowl for sure, but that was a goof up. You know what I mean? Like everybody makes mistakes, but no one's going to be perfect. So, all in all, I just think that these two teams, the Niners and the Broncos, they probably shouldn't have made contact with Aaron Rodgers just yet.
Yeah.
Maybe you should have talked to Green Bay
Yeah,
about
it-
possibly.
Yeah, is this
Trying
true
to-
again? Because again, they said they haven't heard anything, but that's what I mean. He said it. He goes, and we had a quick conversation with. He goes, it was very brief with Green Bay.
Right.
They actually did talk to Green Bay,
Right.
and it
Right.
said it was
But didn't
pretty
get
much
nowhere.
cut and dry, didn't
Right.
get nowhere, and that's why we were like, well, we're happy with Trey Lance anyway. So, but we
Yeah,
throw it out there because we heard.
I mean, Green Bay squashed a
So-
lot of
so
phone calls pretty quickly.
I
They're
think
like,
they
no, not
did
interested.
still talk to Green Bay, but again, Green Bay
Yeah.
squashed it pretty
They were
quick.
no.
So out there, so they looked into it. Why not? So again, I
Just
think
want to
it's
say
like-
thank you, everybody, for whoever's watching. We know that Donald Spence is in the house, Cody Raptor's in the house, Mike Harrington was watching, Zach Walker, Isaiah Everett, Adam, I don't want to butcher your name, Stephen Bogucki, Daniel Cotto. We had quite a few turnout, tonight. So
Absolutely,
Jeffrey
we really
Domney,
appreciate it.
Tom Leiter. We appreciate you all, guys. You guys are all know-it-alls. You are a part of our community. We thank you guys so much for supporting us. And feel free to add any friends. Have your friends, family members, whoever, they love football. Have them join us on YouTube, Football on the No Show. Hit the subscribe button and hit the notification bell for our latest and greatest updated content. You can also follow us on Twitter at FB_no, and as well on Facebook, Football on the No with Jim and Joe.
Absolutely. All right. So
Become a know-it-all.
Yeah, absolutely. We really appreciate everybody. We're still working on some other stuff for this upcoming season, so we can't wait. Our fourth or fifth year going into this now, so we're excited. Come along with us. Bring a lot of your guys' friends with us too. As well. We just love to talk some football,
real
so.
quick, whoever's still watching, show it. Tell us what you think about your team's draft. Were you happy? Were you upset? Are you a little confused right now? Is there any player that your team ended up picking that you were high on or that you think is going to turn out to be a star? Just let us know in the comments below.
Go crazy! Go stupid! Ah!
Yep. So I mean, it was not so. Yeah, let's cue up the music, Joe. Let's talk a little bit of draft here. So. We got together on that Thursday night and everything. We were excited to check it out, see
was a
what
lot
was
of
going to
fun.
happen.
We had a lot of
And,
fun. We also got a little tipsy early
a little
on.
bit early on because we decided to do shots for every pick that we got right. And I think a lot of people still picked a lot of the first couple right because we were also on social media too, going back and forth with some of our other groups that we're members with too, and all of our friends out there. Shout out to John Turner as well. And so we're doing a couple shots here because we landed a bunch of them here. But again, you would see maybe towards what? What do you think? Maybe towards the Dallas Cowboy draft part maybe was where they got crazy. What do you think was the turning point of this whole thing?
What I would say is the J.C. Horn pick, the corner from South Carolina going to Carolina Panthers. That to me was pretty crazy. None of us. I don't care if you're a so-called expert or just one of the guys like us that love football. I didn't see anybody picking J.C. Horn for the Panthers there. So that to me was kind of a little bit of the turning point. Also the Trey Lance pick. That also kind of threw everybody, kind of like, wait, what? Who are they taking? They're not taking Fields. They're not taking, Mac Jones. Like everybody reported Mac Jones. You know what I mean? Like leading up to the draft, everyone's like, it's almost 100% guaranteed. The pick is Mac Jones. Well, no, it's not, because apparently guys that were hearing some of the news the morning of the draft were hearing something completely different that morning and saying that it seems like they might be going with Trey Lance with that pick. And that was the morning of the draft. So they did a great job leading up to the draft to keep it under wraps until the morning, I guess. So, yeah, Trey Lance was a – I didn't think he would go that high. Don't get me wrong. I do really like Trey Lance. He does have a really high ceiling, but he definitely has to further develop in order to be that starting caliber quarterback in the NFL.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, again, we were watching this thing, and it was happening the way we kind of thought. Again, we tried to, when we did our mock draft, we thought the Patriots were kind of trying to move up here. But what's funny is that, and we picked the quarterback that the Patriots grabbed here.
We did,
but
we
it's
had that
funny
trade.
because they didn't have to even trade to get their guy.
No,
and
they
what's
didn't.
funny is because we were also hearing so many times who they liked, who maybe they're going to try and go up and get Fields, whatever. But again, we just thought Mac Jones was the guy, fits the Patriots organization perfectly. The system, the dink and dunk, over top, it just fit exactly perfect. They are still able to get their guy and not lose anything.
And for him to slide this is the craziest thing. And I feel like this happens a lot for the Patriots. They kind of sit tight, and their guy just happens to fall in their laps anyway. But Mac Jones, he's the absolute perfect quarterback for the Patriots. A guy that is a fast processor, much like Tom Brady, he's quickly to diagnose what receiver to go to and get rid of the ball quickly. He's accurate. He's smart. He's more mobile than Tom Brady, which is going to be a nice added element to his game. And his body type, he also kind of looks like Tom Brady when he got drafted. I mean, it's that kind of fun. It's funny. You know what I mean? You look at him in the draft, him taking that long walk to the stage. He almost looked like the principal walking down the halls. Yeah. That's what he looked like. It's kind of funny. But yeah, Patriots get their guy at 15. Absolutely amazing. Patriots fans got to be really happy with that.
Absolutely. We've got Greg Schreiner in the house with us tonight. All right, he says, what do you guys think about the defensive end the Bills picked at 30? Greg Rousseau, I believe. Yes, it was Greg Rousseau.
Yeah. Listen, Gregory Rousseau, the big reason why he kind of slid in this draft, too, is he doesn't have enough, on tape. He's got 1 year of explosion of great plays, had 15 sacks in one season. Everybody's enamored with that. But he didn't play last year.
Yeah, didn't play last year. Didn't have a good pro day.
And also, you only got that 1 year to go off of. He's a little raw, so that's another reason why he kind of slid. He's still got to develop into that do-it-all defensive end. The only thing that kind of worries me is in the first round, whether you're picking early or late, I just have a concern about drafting players that are raw and still need a lot of development. And that's what I see in Gregory Rousseau. Now, he could turn out to be an amazing Pro Bowler type great player for the Bills, but being so raw and new at that defensive end position, it's going to take some time for him to not only adjust to the NFL, but also adjust to that position full-time and become that all-around D end. So, all in all, I like the pick because of where he got taken. I'm just not 100% sure if he's going to be the guy that the Bills hope that he's going to become.
Right, and towards the end of that draft, I mean, we were kind of surprised at some of the things. We threw our draft book. We threw our book right out the window because we were just like, we don't even know what's happening right now. No. Because, again, you look at him and what he like you said, he's raw. You can get him fine-tuned, and that's the reason why they have Jerry Hughes right there, too, in his spot. Basically, Gregory Rousseau could maybe learn a little bit from him, tune in and maybe take over for that position there, too. On the other side of, maybe Mario Addison, or if they get somebody else over there. I mean, they have so many good talent here on the defensive area.
Right. The other thing that I'll say, too, is the Bills drafted another guy in the first round in A.J. Epinesa, who I didn't have him as a first-round grade. I didn't have him as a second-round grade. I had him as a third-round grade. I did not like his game with Iowa. When he played at Iowa, he's a real big body type of guy, but not a lot of explosion, not very quick. Change of direction is pretty poor, so didn't really like his tape. But Bills took him in the first round. Maybe they thought that they could utilize him in different ways, and so far he hasn't panned out. So I feel like this is another a pick for the Bills where they think that with this kid's athletic ability and for their coaching staff, they think they could develop him into be a stud.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Like a year ago, they grabbed him. He was actually in their second round. Still, they grabbed him here too. But yeah, I know what you're saying there. Same type of deal. But again, I think the defense is tight here. Who knows with the Bills the way it can work out for them. But right now, when you looked at them too and needs. Like when we looked at it, we even thought maybe possibly a wide receiver again. If I look back even here,
I think we took a wide receiver
grabbed,
for him, right?
We went with Asante Samuel actually too. When we were thinking at corner
because he could play nickel
and fill that spot there too. You think of him on the opposite other side of Tre'Davious White,
nice.
and things there because right now they've got Levi Wallace there. And Teron Johnson here in the nickel position.
Levi Wallace is good, but he was hurt last year.
Yeah. So, I mean, there we go. We were thinking about maybe some depth there, too, and again, solidify this defense, make it even a strong point for them.
So, I think the moral of the first round of this draft was kind of funny because the first half of the draft was all talented players that you saw getting picked about where they got picked. J.C. Horn was a little surprise to me. Pat Surtain going to the Broncos, I wasn't sure what Denver was going to do. Yeah. I thought that they could go quarterback because
that's
they're
why
not
the
100% in on Drew Lock. But they ended up taking the best corner available, in terms of what people think, Patrick Surtain. So that didn't really surprise me, but I was surprised by the position. Devontae Smith went about, in that range where he was going to go. Justin Fields. For him to fall to 11 and then the Bears to trade up to get their guy, I commend the organization, the Chicago Bears, in not only getting a quarterback, but a quarterback that I felt should have went 3 to the Niners. I thought that Fields would have fit Kyle Shanahan's offense tremendously well, and I feel like he could have almost stepped in week 1 and take over that team. But he ends up sliding to 11. Chicago says, oh, we can't wait any longer. Let's pull the trade.
You knew the Giants weren't going for it, but again, once you look further back, the Eagles were probably going to.
You don't know who was going to take them. So, boom. The Bears get their stud quarterback in Justin Fields. Now, I think he's going to turn out to be a really good starting quarterback. But, again, we have to wait and see how all these guys, acclimate to the NFL and see how they get, how well they develop with their organizations and their coaching staff. So, but again, Chicago, I commend Chicago for their draft pick, their aggressiveness, trading up. And with this trade here, I will also commend the Giants because what they got from going from 11 to 20 was absolutely insane. They got a first rounder next year. So Giants fans hope that Chicago sucks this year. And not only did they get a first-round pick, but I think they got a couple other picks as well. For just moving down to 20, I was like, wow. So this worked out tremendously well for both teams. Chicago gets their quarterback. The Giants get a ton of compensation and another first-round pick that they can utilize next year. Wow. Both teams did a great job there with that pick.
Yeah, and absolutely. Right in that midst right there, you had the 3 NFC East teams right there.
Yes.
And you know that once when the Broncos took Patrick Surtain, that was the Dallas Cowboys guy. Right there.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
So then they're sitting there, and they're like, oh. So then they're looking through, like, well, we can grab maybe somebody else around here. We're not sure.
Right.
But then that's when the Eagles were like, all right, well, now we can leapfrog the Giants because we've been hearing that they, waddle the most out of this and things like that, or a wide receiver. Maybe it's Devonta Smith. So they jump through, and they actually get Devonta Smith. I think it was right there, right?
Yeah,
the wide receiver.
Up to 10.
Yep, up to 10. Jumped up in front of them, got Devonta Smith there. So kind of the Giants were like, all right, well, now that wide receiver's off the thing.
Yeah, Joe Judge is like, damn it.
Yeah, because Waddle was already off earlier, too. So there he goes. There's Devonta Smith. So now wide receivers that we were thinking up there. So it doesn't look really the right value right now to get another wide receiver at this point because we were gung-ho on doing that. So then that's when the Bears call in and make the trade.
Wow.
Let's do it.
That's awesome.
And, we commend them, too, as well. Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy, they've been on the chopping block and on that hot seat for a long time now.
Yep.
And here it is. Here's their chance now that maybe put it all in there. They're going all in. This is it to help save their jobs, but get this organization turned around.
And you know what's funny is that this kind of move to get a new quarterback in place, this actually might extend the life of Matt Nagy, and Ryan Pace, because Now you got a brand new quarterback, so you're like, we drafted this guy. Let us see how this rides out. Don't fire us just yet.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Let's see if we can develop him for another 2 to 3 years, and let's see if we have anything. Maybe it improves our odds at being longer term than we think. A disappointing pick, I will say, for me was the Cowboys pick. I thought
I was going to bring that up
at 12.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I thought that they were going to go offensive line at this point. You know, I since their corner was gone, their number one guy, J.C. Horn, it was also gone, so that was out of the realm of possibility. Caleb Fairley must have not checked all the boxes for the Cowboys in terms of injuries and his medical. Maybe they were one of those teams that were concerned about him being able to play long term. So maybe that's why they didn't go with Caleb Fairley at corner. But they ended up going Micah Parsons, linebacker out of Penn State, who I think is an absolute freak. He's an absolute menacing linebacker, phenomenal against the run, great tackler, and can rush the passer like no other in this draft. So tremendous speed for a guy his size with a 4.4 blazing speed, which is absolutely absurd. But Micah Parsons cannot cover. So if you're drafting this guy, I thought he would have went to a 3-4 team like you said.
Yeah, we had him going to the Giants.
I thought the
last week
Giants
right
might take him. Now, if they stayed where they stayed, and they don't get a call, maybe they do take Micah Parsons, but we will never know. But the Cowboys to take Micah Parsons, now you better, when you take a linebacker that high, he's got to be a 3-down linebacker. And if you're asking this guy to cover tight ends, cover running backs out of the backfield, whatever, he's not going to be able to do it. So that's going to be a limitation of his that they're going to have to learn to deal with and grow with. So little disappointed with that pick. I thought he would have went with a 3-4 team. He ends up going to the Cowboys. They are going to probably put him at middle linebacker for them. But good talent, good player. I just think he went to the wrong team and wrong fit.
Right.
So I thought for the Cowboys there, they should have took and start rebuilding this offensive line. Rashawn Slater, to me, would have been the best pick for them right now at 12, and start rebuilding this line that is not only getting older but also injury-ridden.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I totally agree with what you're saying there, too, as well. And just to touch back on the fact, because I was looking over this again, the guy that they wanted, Patrick Surtain, was there, but he actually got picked after J.C. Horn was there. You brought up them in the Carolina Panthers, and that's one of the guys that we thought even might slip a little bit again, just because of the fact that he gets awful physical and handsy, and the fact that maybe teams might be standoffish on that and say, are we willing to even deal with this guy to that he might even cost us penalties in games and things and
I feel like his
and the
college-
fact that when he got picked where he did by the Panthers, we were kind of shocked at that point with that.
Because I thought it was a little too early for him. I mean, I thought if they were going to go corner, Patrick Surtain's right there.
He's right there.
He's polished, but I know they like physical guys. They like guys that are going to kind of knock you off your route and such. But I just don't think his game translates well to the NFL. I feel like because of his physicality and his aggressive nature, it's going to lead to a lot of pass interference calls, holding calls, and all that. So we'll have to wait and see. Maybe they can kind of develop it out of him. Still keep that physicality, but that aggressiveness, maybe they can kind of scale back.
Right. And following up here with the Chargers and the Jets, they both go offensive line.
I mean,
that's great. That's what they needed. Chargers, we've been asking that for a while. Again, they haven't had a healthy offensive line at all. So now they get Rashawn Slater here. And
Great
then
pick.
Elijah Vera Tucker by the Jets, too. It's finally Jets fans are probably rejoicing in here what Joe Douglas is doing here. They're like, maybe Adam Gase was the whole problem the whole time. We don't know. But, again, they get a quarterback here that they really like. The fans, I think, can really adapt to him and really like him, too, as well. And then you go and get an offensive lineman here to help protect him.
That trade right there for the Jets to come up and get their guy, because obviously they had a super high grade on him compared to whatever tackles or linemen were available, and they said they knew they needed to get a guy. Not only did they get a guy that plays guard, but this guy can also play tackle. He played left tackle his senior year at USC and did a very good job. So they got themselves a very versatile offensive lineman that can play anywhere on the line except for center, and they trade up and get him. So at 14, they get Elijah Vera Tucker. Great pick. I really do believe that teams like the Cardinals or maybe the Raiders were really kind of hoping that he would slide to them. And I think the Jets kind of sensed that. So they had to make that trade up above them. And, the Patriots didn't want to drop. So they go up and get 14, get Vera Tucker. And then what do you know? The Patriots get Mac Jones, falls right into their lap.
Right into their lap, just like that. It unfolded. And just to bring up quick, the Jets again, and a wide receiver that we even had going in this first round, Elijah Moore, ends up falling second round, and then goes to the Jets too. So I mean, now they've got another good wide receiver too, which Jets fans have been asking too.
And not only did they add another young, explosive, quick and fast type of receiver, but one of the higher rated guys that we had going in, we had him in the first round at some point in the bottom half somewhere.
Around where the Titans, we had him going to the Titans here at 22.
That would have worked too,
but
they didn't take him. So. But for the Jets to get him in the second round, I mean, now think about this. Denzel Mims coming back his second year. Another young. Yes, he's going to be a rookie. He's going to go through some struggles. Not going to be, the go-to guy all of a sudden. But another weapon, another young weapon. Now you pair him up, with Wilson there, and you're building a very young offensive team that can grow together, that can develop chemistry together and become a really solid offense.
And what I really liked about Zach Wilson, too, when I was watching his tape, too, and the ability to put the ball where it needed to be kind of placed and some of the bigger plays that he made, too. And it was really exciting to see, what he was doing. And his quickness in and out of the pocket and be able to make some moves, too, with his legs, too, is really impressive.
There.
Something that we've always looked for, with somebody there, the Jets, who, in case you're getting pressured, can maybe get out of some of those situations with your legs. And like you said, Corey Davis, you got Denzel Mims there. Keelan Cole even too, a little hidden little spot on there, possibly getting some action.
Corey Davis.
And then you got and then Jamison Crowder, the veteran that's been there, who has been basically their best wide receiver up until this point.
Because he's the only one available.
Yeah, exactly. And so now you got Elijah Moore there too on it as well. I really like it.
There.
Absolutely.
The only thing that I'll say for the Jets is I wish that they ended up grabbing at some point, whether it be free agency or this past draft, a tight end. Because the current crop that they have are just not getting it done. So that's another, maybe they're waiting for next offseason to address that.
Now, I don't recall or not, but did Zach Ertz ever sign with another team yet?
Not yet, no.
Because I know there was speculation right now. They're talking about there's links again,
Possibly,
obviously, because, Joe Douglas,
yeah,
former, Eagles,
right
there. Maybe you say Zach Ertz right here with how Herndon. He's a better tight end than Herndon there, so plug him in there right there with this team, and that makes your offense better too as well. Even though he's a little longer tooth, but it's a quick little fix here for you too. And somebody that, again, if Zach Wilson's getting pressure a little bit here, how many times have we seen Carson Wentz dunk it off to Zach Ertz and make some big plays?
Absolutely. That makes all the sense in the world to do that. Also in the draft, even my Raiders at 17, I was very upset about this pick. To say the least. But after I cooled off and I started to gather some more intel and more information on the guy, it sounded like the Ravens were prepared to take this guy with the 20 whatever pick that they had. Where did they end? Did they traded back though, right? Or what happened at 27? They had picked 27, so they were prepared to take him towards the end of the first round. So a lot of people expected that Leatherwood would be there for them in the second round, but now that we're getting more information about the draft after it all happened, turns out that maybe they made the right pick. I don't know. We'll have to wait.
One thing I think that also happened with this thing too, I think, is because of COVID, what we've dealt with here too. I think a lot of teams were only able to scout some guys that they kind of thought they would really liked or whatever, and then maybe they I think assumed that some of these other players wouldn't fall to where they were. So I think they really didn't even think that they were going to land to them. So maybe they just stuck on some of the guys they already knew a lot more information about.
I mean, the thing that I'll say about that is that I don't think that was the case. I think that they gather all intel from any positions that they were trying to learn more about, all these different prospects. I don't think that was it. What I will say is that because of the limitations that they were given to they couldn't have any face-to-face like interviews, so they had to do a lot of Zoom calls, and they had to do everything kind of virtual, I guess, because at least they got to go to the pro days. But then again, they couldn't meet with the player after the pro day was open and talk with them face-to-face.
Yeah.
They couldn't have him come for a visit. They couldn't work him out in their facility. So because of those things, because of those limitations, I feel like a lot of teams all across the board were kind of a little hampered in this draft in terms of their scouting process and what have you.
Yeah. All right. Yeah, I hear you too as well. That's an excellent point to bring up here.
Jalen Phillips ends up going to the Dolphins at 18. I thought that was in the range where he should go. And I do believe that he will end up being the better edge player out of this draft. He did have injuries at Miami, but I think the Dolphins hit the nail on the head. If they were looking for edge, they definitely got some help with Jalen Phillips.
Absolutely, because we even thought that he may fall to the Colts there. We had him going at 21 there, too, so we weren't far off with that one as well.
Yep. Jamin Davis, you heard me bring up his name on the show the past couple of weeks. Jamin Davis, I've been really high on this guy, with linebacker out of Kentucky, and the Washington football team seems to agree. At 19, because they couldn't make a trade. They tried. They tried to trade up to get one of these quarterbacks, but it was too much to ask for. They didn't want to give up all that compensation, so they stayed at 19. They get a player of not only need but of high value there at 19 in Jamin Davis. Giants at 20. They make that trade. They drop down. They get a lot of compensation, and they still get a wide receiver that is going to not only be explosive, very quick, very shifty and fast. This player, he does have a little bit of the dropsies from time to time, but all in all, I think he catches more balls than he drops, obviously. But he's a difference maker when the ball's in his hands.
Right.
Really hard to bring down, really hard to get get your hands on him. He'll make you miss.
Well, the Giants have been dealing with that, I think, even with a lot of the players. Look at Evan Ingram with the dropsies.
I think he's worse.
Yeah.
I think he's definitely worse at catching.
Yeah.
I think he's the worst. I think he rivals, what was it? I'm trying to think of
Deontay Johnson for the Steelers. How he kept dropping this past season?
I was trying to think.
From college?
There was a wide receiver in the NFL that had the most drops in the season, and I'm trying to remember his name. But anyway, but yeah, I think he falls into that category of just he drops more balls than he catches, and it's the craziest thing. I've never understood when you can catch all the difficult passes thrown your way, but the real easy ones you drop. It doesn't make any sense.
And maybe even for him, because you've seen the shifty moves and how he can stop on a dime, what he does. Maybe he's already planning in his head ahead of time.
He turning up
somebody
field too
turning
early.
up field, turning up, and then it's ready to just go.
But your man Kadarius Toney from Florida, I think he's going to be a little bit of a difference maker for this team. Obviously they're going to work on his catching ability, try to improve that. But all in all, runs really good routes. There's not a lot to dislike about this guy. So you team him up with Kenny Galladay now. You got Sterling Shepard. You got Darius Slayton. Now you got Kadarius Toney. There's a lot
John
to like
Ross
here.
is in trouble now.
I left him out.
Well, yeah, I know. That's what I'm saying. He's like,
honest,
you're pretty much probably not going to make it.
To be honest, John Ross, if it wasn't for injuries, I think John Ross would be a electric player for the Bengals still. You know what I mean?
Right.
So because of that, I really don't know if he can stay healthy at this point.
Yeah,
so
that's what I'm saying. By making this pick, some of these other guys now, they're pretty much out of job.
I still think they'll be there.
Him, so.
I still think they're going to keep a guy like John Ross. But again, if he gets hurt in practice, for God's sakes, then just injury settlement, goodbye.
Right.
But another surprise of the draft, I'll say, is Kwity Paye.
Yeah, we knew we were going to go possibly some kind of edge pressure here.
we
thought
Phillips would be
Jalen
there.
Phillips there, but maybe that's what they were thinking.
Yep.
Jalen Phillips, same thing we were.
Maybe.
But again, he didn't fall to him there, so they go with Kwity Paye.
They go with Kwity Paye, and I'm not really high on this guy. And it's kind of like a stigma that Michigan has, is they got these athletic freaks, these edge rushers that they're fast, they're physical, they're strong, they're quick, all that. But where's the production? It's not on the stat sheet. So I don't think he has a lot in terms of his resume to kind of dictate him being a first-rounder. Don't get me wrong. His athletic ability is through the roof. He's quick. He's twitchy, all that. Let's see if maybe the Colts can further develop his game, maybe get it a little bit, pass rushing moves. and see what they can do with him as a D end. So that we'll have to wait and see.
Yeah, that's what I know you're thinking.
Here you go. We didn't know how far he would slide. Some people were reporting that he could slide right out of the first round, potentially be picked in the second round. Caleb Fairley, the corner out of Virginia Tech. Now, this is what I'll say about him, is I was extremely, extremely all in on this guy. The only problem is his injury history. If he was a healthy player his whole college career or somewhat healthy, this guy would have been the number one corner taken. It's not another question. It's not a question of his talent or level of play. It was about his injuries, his back. He's had 2 surgeries on his back, so that concerns some teams. He falls down to Tennessee Titans. Now, we had Elijah Moore going here. Team him back up with his college alum mate, A.J. Brown. It was like too easy to, pull the trigger on. But, hey, Titans said, you know what? We're probably not going to get a player this talented to fall like this far ever again. So let's just take a shot. Hopefully he stays healthy.
Yep.
Vikings. We didn't we have them taking an offensive tackle?
Vikings. We had him taking.
Or did we?
Well, the thing is, Vikings were up further, and we had him taking offensive tackle Christian Darrisaw.
Okay.
But that's when
But they
the
still
Jets
get
moved
Darrisaw.
up. Yeah.
They still get Darrisaw.
Yeah, isn't that
so,
funny?
Just so you know, we did pick
We did
right
pick it.
team
We got
to go
that one
to.
right again.
Just not the right pick.
It's not the right pick again. So, I mean, we're that good at this. It's funny.
So, Darrisaw ends up going. I think it's a great pick. And I'm actually surprised that the Raiders didn't take a guy like Christian Darrisaw instead of Leatherwood. But we'll have to wait and see how all these guys pan out. And here's I just can't believe this pick. I knew this could be a possibility. I knew it could be. But I was like, it screams offensive line need, and you're in a spot where you can get a good offensive lineman. Pittsburgh Steelers take a running back in Najee Harris. Now, I love Najee Harris. I think he's one of the top running backs coming out this year. I had him as my number 1. And he does fit the role of a Steeler type of running back. But you have no offensive line. Alejandro Villanueva just signed a deal, a one-year deal with the rival, with the Ravens. You lost your center to retirement. Your guard left in free agency to, I think, the Cardinals, I want to say. You lost 3 starting offensive linemen, and you didn't do anything in free agency so far and nothing in the draft. What the hell are you doing?
Exactly. There you go.
We fucked up.
You sure did.
Yeah, exactly.
I
Totally.
love
it. Was there for
Don't
him.
get me wrong. I love Najee Harris. I think this is the perfect Steeler to complement this offense. But offensive line is so critical, and you got Big Ben returning to play. If I'm Big Ben, I'm at home and I'm like, what the fuck?
Especially because, I don't know, when you're looking at it, maybe because, again, it didn't make sense because even though the next pick, let's talk about let's join these together here.
Okay, yeah,
the
go ahead.
Jaguars going with
Travis Etienne.
Yeah, yes.
Yeah.
And he said it's great. He's got another running back. He's going to be
His team. You team
guy,
up
too.
Trevor Lawrence with
it's his former
college
teammate.
running
Yeah,
back.
and that's what he even says
Come
too.
on,
He's like
man.
this. He's like he's going to be our great third running back too. He's like, I want to run 3 at the same
Why?
time. Or it's a great.
Why?
It's like, what are you doing? And again, it's like, so maybe I could make a sense that Steelers thought maybe they're going to grab Najee Harris. I don't know, but maybe Etienne was the idea the whole time. But again, you're looking at it, you're like, yeah, running back. Maybe you guys needed to help your running game a little bit, but you were seeing where some of these guys were sliding.
Yeah.
Maybe you could have potentially got him back there or make a move to go get him. But the offensive line was there to take, and you didn't pull the trigger on it.
Yeah, and I would say this for the Jaguars. If you wanted to take a running back, to me personally, I like the kid out of North Carolina better. Not Michael Carter, but I forgot his name. The other one that was there. I felt he was a better fit for the Jaguars. You already have James Robinson, okay?
Yeah.
You don't need to take
But
a
that's
running
what I
back
get why
here.
running back is your thing.
Listen, Elijah Moore's there. Add more more arsenal for Trevor Lawrence to throw to. I don't know. I disagree with that pick too. And a lot of people love. Listen, Travis Etienne is not a bad running back. He's a really good one, but he's a different style of running back. Now, for me, it's just not my flavor of ice cream. I don't like a Travis Etienne, a guy who's kind of like more shifty, quick, fast guy, great receiver at the backfield. I like my guy to be bigger, can break tackles, can also do all those things, catch the ball in the backfield. But, so I just liked Harris better. I like, the kid out of North Carolina better because he breaks tackles. You know what I mean? So that's just is what I like. But Travis Etienne, I think this is a pick that they should have went a different position with, a different direction. But, hey, they made the pick. They're all in on him, and let's see how they utilize him this upcoming season.
Well, the thing is, though, too, is it kind of like, for me, it looks like contradictory. Because, again, the previous year, you're able to get James Robinson on great value, and it looks like he could be your starter right now.
He is their starter.
Exactly.
He is their starter.
So, and we've seen this time and time again with running backs now, where people even starting to question: do you bother taking a running back in the first round? Is it worth it to you because of their lifespan in the NFL? You already had good value in getting your starting running back in later rounds the previous year.
True.
It's a thing that was thrown onto you on your lap by a great pick.
The only thing I'll say,
why get another one with your first pick?
The only thing I'll say about the whole running back, take him in the first round or second or later, whatever, is to me it depends on your roster. Now, if you told me that the Steelers signed a bunch of veterans to replace the ones that left, and their offensive line was going to be solid, this pick makes sense. But the fact of the matter is your need at offensive line needed the help. You know what I mean? They needed to address that starting here. And I believe later on in the draft they did kind of address it like a guard and maybe a center or something like that later on in the draft. But that's later.
Yeah, they got a tackle. That's Walker Little.
Walker Little's a decent pick because he's played with injuries. So you're getting an injury-plagued guy. Is he going to be able to not only last, can he make it through training camp? So talent-wise, it's a great pick. It's almost a steal if he could stay healthy. But that's one player on the offensive line, right?
Right.
Is that all they took?
Yeah, that's it.
That's it. Only one offensive line.
Because one other thing, they grabbed Luke Farrell for the tight end position here.
Yeah,
that's what I don't get either, too. Yeah,
they took two.
Yeah.
What? Listen, did somebody who was smoking the Chiba in the front office? Because it sounds to me like a lot of their draft was all over the board. Like they didn't really go for value, and they didn't really go for needs either. They just kind of like threw the dart at the board and say,
again, it just to me it really smells of like Urban Meyer is just, I don't know, all over the map. I mean, because you're hearing now even too that Tim Tebow is ready to sign here with this team and be their tight end.
Are you on the
Jacksonville Jaguars?
See, I'm talking about the Steelers.
No, I'm talking about the Jaguars here. We're jumping back and forth. No, I'm talking about the Jaguars.
Their offensive line's fine.
Yeah, I'm just saying though. But you got Trevor Lawrence here. You grab their running back or whatever. But again, and now you've got Tim Tebow coming in as your tight end too.
I mean,
it's just,
that's not official.
It's really close. It came out today too. That it's pretty much there. It's almost a done deal.
Well, but until it's done.
Yeah, it's over.
I'm not even going to entertain that.
But
I'm not even going to entertain.
I just know I don't like the situation here. We're going to running back. I just think they could have had better value with another, like you said, explosive weapon too on the other side of DJ Chark, who is up and coming for them. Marvin Jones has just been a steady player here over there with Detroit. Now he's here with Jacksonville.
Yeah.
But
I mean, I think
I don't know.
That's nice, but I still think because Marvin Jones is older too.
Like you said, when you talk about Pittsburgh, it was there. It was there for them, and they just went in an opposite direction. And this is another spot during the draft when we took a look at it, and we were like, "What the hell is going on?" We don't know what these guys are all thinking because they're. Right. We're thinking zig and they're doing zag all day long in some of these guys.
And I'll say
you're feeling the need is there,
right?
And it's there. Like here it is. They're going to take it.
And I understand that you don't always. A lot of teams don't pick need based. You know what I mean? And I get it. But the value was there too. Like they could have took Liam Eckenberg out of Notre Dame, who I think is going to be a stud tackle for the Dolphins. The Dolphins ended up getting him in the second round. I mean, the Dolphins to me had one of the best drafts this year. Yes. And if you have all these draft picks early, you should have a good draft. You know what I mean? But all in all, they got a lot of really top-notch prospects. The Browns, to me, did a great job. In the first round, they ended up getting Greg Newsome, the second guy out of Northwestern. A really good corner, can play in any scheme. He's very scheme versatile. long, lanky type of cornerback, a guy who's going to not only add depth, but he could push for a starting job right now because there's been way too many injuries in that position. You know, Greedy Williams has been injured. DJ Ward recently injured this past season. So I feel like this pick is a luxury pick for the Browns. They got high value, and they got a position that they could utilize. Ravens pick. They finally get a wide receiver, right? Rashad Bateman from Minnesota ends up falling right to them at 27. They add another stud wide receiver. I really think that he's going to develop really well for them. Some teams slept on him a little bit, and that's kind of why he kind of was there for the Baltimore Ravens. But they have themselves now. They're starting to build an offense around Lamar Jackson. It no longer looks like you got one receiver, running backs galore, and you Lamar. So make something work. You know what I mean? Now they're starting to build and make this offense better across the board. Another questionable pick, I'll say, is the Saints pick. They end up taking Peyton Turner, defensive end out of Houston, who really reminds me almost identically as Marcus Davenport, who they already have on the roster. A guy who's a developmental guy. Peyton Turner got a lot of the same skill sets, almost kind of the same size too. Why did you take Peyton Turner in the first round? You got Marcus Davenport, you still got Cameron Jordan. You're not moving on from Cameron Jordan right now. So you took a guy that you're going to rotate in, I guess. I just don't understand. You and me, Jim, we kind of thought that this receiver was going to be a pick here for the Saints. Add some more weaponry with Michael Thomas there, and did they sign? I thought they signed somebody, or didn't they sign nobody? Maybe not.
I don't. So.
They got Traquan. They got Traquan Smith right now. They got Michael
there
Thomas
on the other side.
I really thought that they would go wide receiver here and kind of
Plus, they don't have a lot of money to spend though either.
Yeah, no, but it's a draft pick. It's different.
No, I know. I'm just saying, like when you talked about did they bring somebody in? I'm like, no,
true.
they didn't.
They were in the negative from jump.
Exactly. They were trying to cut, and they restructured a lot of.
Listen, it was really hard for us to scout this year because we were kind of trying to take information from these so-called experts. We were trying to take information for ourselves. We all watched some highlights on players and stuff like that. But Eric Stokes, I thought, would have went in the second round at some point. Ends up in the lower tail end of the first round for the Packers. Packers take more depth at cornerback. They feel that that's still a need, and they bring in the kid from Georgia. I think it's a good pick. I was a little surprised, and I thought maybe you help Aaron Rodgers out with a wide receiver here, but no, let's not take Elijah Moore. He's there. Let's not do that.
Again, I think they just looked at how their defense stacked up by the end of the year, and so they just wanted to help out that defense.
Fulfill it out a little bit more.
Yeah.
Bills, they take Gregory Rousseau. We talked about that earlier with Greg. Baltimore Ravens with that first round that they get from the Chiefs in that trade for Orlando Brown Jr. The Baltimore Ravens select a pass rusher in Defi Owe from Penn State. Guy that ran a blazing 40 as well for his size. But, again, this is another player like Gregory Rousseau who's more of a developmental pass rusher. So they're going to have to work with him with the Ravens, not try to push him out there to be a starter right away, hopefully. And we'll see what happens there. And Tampa Bay at 32, we didn't know what direction they were going to go because not only did they brought back every free agent they lost, but they won the Super Bowl last year, so we already know they're going to be tough. They don't have a lot of needs. What do they do with it? Well, they take a luxury pick here, an edge rusher, Joe Tryon from Washington. This kid is one of those names that we heard kind of growing as we got closer to the draft, and sure enough, he ends up with the Buccaneers. I think it's a really good pick for them, solid pick. And overall, that's our take on the first round. And I'll say thanks everybody for tuning in. If you tune in, I just noticed now that Nick Bizzaro was watching. I don't know if you're still watching, but thank you very much for the support. Appreciate it, guys. Family, friend. Hey, remember, Mother's Day is coming up.
Oh, it is.
Sunday is Mother's Day, everybody. So go out there, treat your mom to dinner. You know what I mean? Hang out with her, joke, laugh, drink, have fun, be merry.
Yeah, absolutely. And then just talk about football on the know. With
That's
her
right.
and stuff like that. She
Make
loves
sure your
football.
mother
Yeah, absolutely.
subscribes to us on YouTube.
Moms love us.
That's
right. Don't worry about that. We are good.
Happy Mother's
wholesome
Day,
people.
everybody, for Sunday. Thank you guys very much for supporting us and everything. If you want to further do so, go ahead. Even ask your friends, family members, whoever. Get on YouTube. Football on the Know Show. Search it up. Smash that subscribe button. Hit the notification bell to get all our latest and greatest updated content. You can also follow us on Facebook, Football on the Know Show. Become a member, become a know-it-all, and also on Twitter at FB_know. Hey, we're all family here, baby.
Become a know-it-all. All right, thanks. I'll see you guys next time.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday nights for more Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.